Hi everyone. This is just little life update. I know I'm not wearing any makeup and this is just what I look like right now. So this week was my first week back to classes. I can officially say that I am a senior. Woot woot. I'm gonna be a super senior because there's no way in hell I could graduate college in 4 years, but whatever. And I knew I was gonna be a super senior at the end of last year. Um, because of the foreign language requirements and how that worked out. This is what happens when you end up being a transfer student. Um, but whatever. So, yeah. I had thought, like, near the end of summer as I was, looking at my class schedule again just to see what I had actually signed up for, because I had forgotten. I'm only taking the minimum amount of credits, and the reason for that is that I have a rough time falling back into the sink of things, especially after a long ass stressful summer. I really don't want to. I really just don't want to overload. Um, yeah. And then on top of that, I'm. I don't want to say heading, but hey, Kenza, get off of her. I'm really cranky today. Heading or one of the coordinator people for the ASL club at my school, and because that's new. And then I'm in this leadership fellows cohort thing this year, so I have to go to those meetings as well as the ASL meetings as well as my classes. But yeah, so my classes, I made it so that I only have class 2 days a week. And I purposefully had did that because I thought that, I would try to swing a job during fall term because I didn't have a job the entire summer. As it turns out, I don't think there's any way in hell I'm going to be able to have a job this term at all. Because of the fact that the workload in my classes I had underestimated. And, but I'll tell you about how those classes were working. So, my first class starts at 10. And I'm the kind of person where I can't show up to class early. If I end up getting to class early, I just will not go into class. I hate being late. I am paranoid about being late. I wake up extra early so I'm not late. So even though my class starts at 10, I wake up at 6 because I don't like to have my morning rushed, and then I have to get to the train, and that is an hour commute out to the school. And then I have to change trains to keep going up to the school. So, anyways, my class starts at 10, and I wake up at 6. My class doesn't start until 10, and I don't get home until 7 something at night. This is an entire day long thing of school. So the first class that I have is Shakespeare. And, I've already made a few friends in that class. And I only had that class, I've only had it twice. So, I'm not sure what's happening over there. My dog's being really weird. Frank, what are you doing? Pinky! Being weird. But anyways, so our professor walks in, and he makes me think of a mixture between a blue heron and a meerkat. I'm the kind of person where normally if I see, I don't know, some people, when I look at them, I think of an animal. That's just the first thing I think of. But he was like a mixture of two things. I already have a friend that kind of looks like a crane, and I was like, oh, he can't be a crane. And so I had to think of another tall, skinny bird with a pointy beak because he has a kind of a big nose. And his sideburns are pretty fierce, not gonna lie. They're not just kind of like au naturel looking sideburns, like they are cut into distinct shapes. So we were all kind of laughing. Kenza! Get off of her! You know better. I've been having to yell at the dogs all day. It has been rough. Anyways, the professor, thankfully, because nobody really knew anything about this professor, we didn't go to ratemyprofessor.com or whatever. I never do that anyways. But, nobody knew anything about this guy. Well, he's actually really funny, and he popped a few jokes during the first day of class, and thankfully this seems like a really discussion-based class, which is good, because I like, kind of creating a banter between students and stuff. I enjoy that. I learn that way. But on the first day, and that assignment really wasn't bad. We had to read the first act of A Midsummer Night's Dream and then read the intro in this book for that particular play. And this is a book that we're reading out of. But the homework for this weekend that I was given yesterday is to read the first 78 pages of the intro of the book. Not just the play, but of the book, which is basically this chronology of shit that happened during Shakespeare's time. 78 pages. 78. And not only that, but we have to read Act 2 and 3 of A Midsummer Night's Dream. I have a rough time saying that. So I'm more excited about reading the play than I am of reading the intro. And I am only on page 21 of 78. I have been working on this all day, and I cannot get anywhere with it. I first of all, had a massive migraine this morning, which was awful. But I don't know if it's just me, but I cannot read when it's silent and nothing else is going on. Like if I was reading in silence, like in a public place where at least there was other noises and crap going on, I could read. But I could not read in silence. And I can't read with music necessarily playing because I would want to sing along and I get distracted by the music. So instead, what I ended up doing just a few moments ago was I put on Shakespeare in Love and kind of turned it down low, so at least there's some kind of action and noise in the background, and I'm able to kind of read more than I had been. But that's a huge amount of reading that I will not be able to retain, the 78 pages of the intro of the chronology of shit that happened during Shakespeare's time. Nobody, unless you're like a Shakespeare expert, has the brain capacity to memorize all this crap. I guess not that's crap because Shakespeare's a genius, but you know what I'm saying. Then the next class that I have is my medieval literature class, which is Chaucer. And I had taken a medieval lit class before, except we started with Beowulf and then we ended up with I don't know what. And we had done a little section on Shakespeare. Frankie wants to be up here, and you're choking me. And, don't you press any buttons. And so, what are you doing? Well, now they can't see me. She's like, I don't care. And, Frank, can you seriously just get on my legs and just lay there instead of on my lap? She's like, nope. Frank, you need to stop. Can you just stay there? That's better. Is that better? That's all over your face. Little specks of who knows what. Beep. Okay. So, oh, are you gonna fall asleep? You might. So anyways, my medieval lit professor, she's a bit intense. I can't really say a lot about her because I don't know. I don't want to say that a whole lot of her personality shows, but you know, that's actually an okay thing because what I do know about her is that she's really passionate about what she's teaching, and that's good. I can't learn from a professor, and there's no point of taking a class from a professor who doesn't like what he or she's talking about. I think that's a waste of time. Nobody gets anything pleasurable out of the experience, and we all just want to go home. But if you guys have not read any medieval literature, if you have never read Chaucer, it is basically another language because it's written in Middle English. And this professor, I have to assume, has studied this shit for quite a long time because she just broke out the intro of the Canterbury Tales and just, you know, she didn't have it memorized, she had it in front of her, but she was just reading it like da-da-da-da-da, like not missing a beat with the pronunciation, and the rest of the class and I were like, okay. So, you know, the homework in that class, the thing with Middle English for me, because I read some of it before, by no means am I an expert at it, but what I have found is that when I read it, when I'm looking at it and I read it, I can get the gist of what's going on. It's not hard for me to understand what's happening. But as soon as I start reading it out loud, I lose exactly what I've been reading. I don't understand what the hell's happening. So, because the pronunciation does not really sound like what I'm reading. Because some of the words in Middle English, I can look at it and I can see it being connected to a English word that we use. And so I just kind of piece it together and it makes sense to me what's happening. And I don't know if other people do that. But, yeah. But the workload in that class over the entire term will be like 5 papers and a couple, I don't know how many quizzes, and then we have to do a final paper, and then we have to do a, Indy's right here looking at me, and we have to do a class presentation, and I'm just like, oh my god, kill me now. Because I like the subject and I like reading his work. It's very fascinating to me, but the workload I'm not looking forward to at all. But with that being said, I just changed my minor because I didn't know that they had it, and they renewed it, which is freaking exciting. Because before I just changed it yesterday, or 2 days ago, my minor was Native American Studies. I only had one class put into that, so, you know, it's not a big loss to me. But they had just renewed their Medieval Studies minor, which I didn't, I had looked it up near the, I think it was last spring, and they had taken it out, like it was no longer present, and I was like, what? And then when we were on class on Tuesday going over the syllabus, she said, this counts in your minor for medieval studies, and I was like, what? Like they brought it back? And I looked, and indeed they had, and so my minor is now medieval studies, which is going to be cool. I mean, some of the classes that were like on that list, because you have to obviously fill out a certain required amount of credits to get that minor, were like the Icelandic sagas and Northern European mythology and Gothic art and stuff. I'm like, that just sounds so cool to me. I guess it's just because I'm interested in it. Of course, I was trying to explain that to my dad, and he's like, well, I don't understand how you're going to get a job out of that. And I told him, neither do I, but it's interesting. And then the class after that, I'm not going to really explain what it's for. It's really a stupid required thing that my school has to do, and I really freaking hate it because their prereqs here are different than they were at the school that I was at, and it's really frustrating. Yeah. But anyways, this professor, I had taken the first half of this particular class last year with a different professor, and she was a little bit of a pushover. She wasn't a bad lady by any means. I think she was not really confident in her own teaching abilities, so people got away with a lot more, and she was a bit more lenient with things, which was fine by me. But, and I do my work. I make sure that I get it done, because I'm a freak when it comes to my grades. But anyways, so this is the second half of the same course taught by another woman. And this lady looks so strict. Facially, she has a frown line. Her eyebrows kind of look furrowed all the time. I noticed this throughout the class because of the way the light's shining. Her upper lip sweating the entire time. She just looks like a giant ball of stress. But her voice, oh my gosh, I think it's just because this is the last class of the day and I'm so exhausted by the time I get there. And we are like in this weird, ugly, sterile room where there's no color really and nothing to look at besides the professor. Like, there's nothing to look at, so it's awful. There's no color whatsoever. And so, my professor, I think it's a mixture of just wanting to go home, being exhausted, and not really being entirely interested in the subject itself. Because she has turned this discussion-based class, as it should be, because it's not like a science class where it's a lecture hall and you have to learn off the professor. This is a dance history class, right? You read it, you talk about it, you infer about things, you know, like, it's a discussion-based class. She has turned it into a lecture class with this squeaky, high, monotone, not deep monotone, but high monotone, which I think is even worse, voice that just set my teeth on edge. And, like, the thing is, I don't feel like a professor should be up front if throughout their lecture they say, oh, and so, right, and again, in every sentence. But somebody will make a comment, and in response, the professor will say something along the lines of, yeah, and so blah, 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 right, and again, blah, blah. It's just like, oh my god. So when somebody makes a comment that I think everybody understands because it's pretty fucking obvious because we're watching a square dancing, she has to not only in her own way take up 30 minutes of class period elaborating on this thing, but also has to reiterate what the person has said in 10 different ways. And it's the same fucking thing. What she's saying is the same thing, just in 10 different ways. And it's like, oh my god, we get it, lady. So, I mean, there's just something about the class. I really wish that I had taken something else. Because not only that, but we're only allowed, not only, I mean, the issue with her that I have to deal with because it's, oh my gosh, I really just want to bring in earplugs and just sit there and doodle for the entire hour and 15 minutes. Just write poetry. Like, I don't want to listen to this woman because even if my hand has been up for 15 minutes to wanting to make a fucking comment, she will pass over me because she has to go on her own giant rant about the fact that, yes, their costumes, blah, 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 in 15 different ways. So not only that, but we're allowed one absence during the term. One. And apparently if we miss two, our letter grade drops a letter. What kind of a fucking rule is that? It's fall term. People are fucking gonna get sick, you know, like. And she says it's a discussion-based class, so everybody has to show up. No, newsflash, it's a lecture, obviously, because you can't shut the hell up. Just like I am right now. Sorry, this is just a bitchy rant because I'm like, this has already been a rough week of term. It's only been 2 days. Just 2 days. Just 2. So, you know, like, I am so happy that I only have to deal with that shit 2 days of the week. And thankfully, I have all this extra time to get homework done because, as you can see, reading 78 pages out of this book about the intro, the chronology of the shit that happened during Shakespeare's time takes a while to read and even more effort to retain because, frankly, that's not really important to me right now. His work, yes. And I know that whatever happened to him during his time obviously influenced what he wrote about and how he wrote. But, like, Right now, I really don't care. And Frankie doesn't care either, right, Stink? Right? Am I right? I think I'm right. Yeah. But, so anyways, there's that. All that whole spiel of classes. ASL club, it should be fine. It should be good. I'm hoping that it's good. I'm hoping that that was a really scary noise, that all the people that signed up will actually show up. Leadership fellows, I have no idea because the meetings don't start until next week. And then this coming week, and I know that this seems so bad because I'm so negative right now just because I'm just tired and there's so much shit that I feel like I have to do. And excuse you. But next week, starting on Wednesday, there's a recruitment for the sorority at my school. And I really want to get into it. And I'm like trying my best to stay. I don't want to have to feel like I'm working at Victoria's Secret again because that was awful. And yes, I did work there for those of you who don't know. But there was like, it was cut in half there between the fake people and the people like me who have deeper voices who want to talk about how sweatpants have pockets. So I'm hoping that the sorority isn't high-pitched, oh my god, ha! You know, like, I hope that these girls are real, and I hope that they, you know, they say that they don't expect people to change who they are, but you never know if they really and truly mean that until you show up and see them and you interact. But I don't know, like, I have to be at the school for another 2 years, and last year was basically commute back home. Like, that was my life last year, and it was so fucking boring. Like, I gained nothing from that. Nothing at all. I didn't make a lot of friends. I say a lot. I did make some, but not a lot, you know, because I'm commuting. So I'm hoping that, you know, first of all, I get in. Like, so if you guys can send positive energy about that. Frank, where are you going? No, you're not going on the table. You're going on this chair, okay? Just sit there. Thank you. Oh, don't fall off. And I know I'm not the you know, the stereotypical sorority girl, but I mean, so far the new stuff that I've seen for the sorority doesn't look half bad. I mean, I'm really excited to meet new people and to do events and, you know, do whatever, you know, just do things with other people because I didn't do that at all last year. Ingy, move up. Your breath stinks. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Like me, like next to my eye. Nope. Okay, you need to back up. Go over there. Oh, there. Ha ha ha. But anyways, this is just an update rant of my life right now. Indy. But I love y'all. But I love y'all. Am I gonna do it? Nope. Good job. She's like shuffling as far as she can over here. But yeah, I mean, I haven't done any kind of anything about it. I'm just hoping that the girls will see that I'm not, I mean, as negative and temperamental as I can be, I can also be a lot of fun, and I think I'm kind of, I have the capability of being funny. Yeah, I'm just, I myself am a giant ball of stress. What does he say in Ferris Bueller? That if somebody shoved a lump of coal up my ass in 2 weeks, they get a diamond. That's basically what I'm feeling right now. Yes, I see you. Boo, 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 boo. But yeah, I mean, I just hope that it goes well. So just, I don't want anything to like try to influence, no, their decision or whatever. I just want them to see that I am myself, and that's basically all that there is to that. That I don't have to put on a facade and be somebody I'm not. Not saying that any of the girls do that because I don't know any of them. But, you know, like that's, I hope that I don't have to run into that if I do. But if anybody wants to send some kind of positive energy about that, for that reason, that would be great. Just trying to stay positive about that and not be so worried. But anyways, that's all I got. Gotta go keep reading some of Shake. And like I've said, boop, what are you doing? With any other kind of big life, even though this isn't a big life thing, you know. If stuff happens, or I have any kind of haul videos, or any kind of important vlogging things, I'll let you know. But thanks for watching. Bye!